Hi, Fashion Dolls, and ooh, the lighting. Let's get into this light right here on my new phone. All right, we are back. Hopefully, it works this time. We're waiting on it to alert everybody to get everybody in here so that we can get today's show started. I could not see Damien. Welcome back as you're joining in. Hopefully, it works this time. So let me share this with Damien so that we can get him in here. Do, do, do. Boom. There we go. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. And a big shout outs to my brother K Tooks, again, host of the K Tooks Spot. I hope you guys are doing as awesome as I am. It's Thursday, Friday tomorrow. Super excited. So without further ado, let's welcome our very special guest, and hopefully it works this time. Damien Mural.
Are we
There
good?
you are. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Welcome to the Dollhouse. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Good. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So before we kick off this conversation, how has 2025 been for you thus far?
It's been wonderful. I can say that I've been blessed and I'm alive. So I'm happy. Okay, hey,
That's just
that's the most important thing, right? Still breathing, and
absolutely.
God has given me breath, and He's let me see another day. And anything else, I can always get through. But 2025 has been a good year for me.
And so many blessings. You are part of the Tri-City Singers. And when I introduced you, I hate that my intro got messed up because I couldn't
Oh,
get
no
you on
worries.
here. And I had to start over. When I introduced you,
Yeah.
I said you are one of the game changers in gospel music. And to be
Oh,
able to
thank
cross
you.
over and merge different genres of music
Yes.
all together, to be able to blend that. And the first person, we touched on that yesterday with my guests that I had on the show, Gathers. And we were talking
Wow.
about Kirk Franklin. He said Kirk Franklin was one of the few that inspired him to get into music as well
Wow.
too. And
Yes.
we were also talking about, shout outs to Chrissy. Chrissy was talking about CC Winings. And
Yeah.
she, in one of her interviews at that time, mentioned Kirk Franklin because he was able to
Hmm.
merge R&B with the hip hop flavor into gospel as well too, because you want people to get the message of God and
That's right.
especially the younger audience. And
That's
that
right.
is something that a lot of gospel artists is wanting people to have, which is the message of God. And there's different ways that people are getting it out there. And Trinity
Hmm.
5-7, which is one of my favorite
Oh,
gospel
yeah.
girl groups,
Yes.
uh, they caused some controversy and backlash with some of their music. And I'm like, I love it. I live for it because I'm young, I'm youthful, and here I am at 12 years old singing about my body and how my body should be my temple and how it should be pure,
Hmm.
how it should be for the Lord. Well, yeah, I'm a sinner. I know I'm a sinner.
Well, we all
The
are.
good
We
kind of
have
sin.
come short.
So, yes, but you want people to get the message of God. You want
Hmm.
people to have faith, and you want
That's right.
people to catch on to your message, saying that God doesn't judge, God doesn't discriminate, and that's what this
Hmm.
music is all about. But before
Yeah.
we get into that and the whole gospel music genre, we have a connection because we're both from the Carolinas. You were
Oh, wow.
raised in
Yeah.
Wilmington, North
Hmm.
Carolina. I have family in North Carolina in the
Oh,
Raleigh
wow.
area. My cousin is there, who I just
Yeah.
recently had on the show, and I also have a brother there as well too, as well as a girlfriend. So it's
Oh,
deep and
wow.
it's personal. And then my girl Hope Ellis, who is
Yeah.
one of the co-hosts here with me, of my sister circle show, Girl Talk, when Black women speak, and I'll get your take on it because I've sent you a couple episodes, and I
Okay.
feel
Yeah.
so bad because I've said some things, but
It's okay.
we'll get into that. But Wilmington, North Carolina, and your father was a pastor and your mother was a co-pastor. So
Hmm.
the Mural family is
Hmm.
legendary in gospel music. Like I would place your
Oh,
family up there with the Clark sisters because
oh,
of just
wow.
the impact overall that
Oh, thank
your
you.
father and your mother had in gospel music, and then you went it off
Yes.
and branched off. Well, we'll get to the story later, but Wilmington, North Carolina. that little boy growing up in Wilmington, North Carolina,
Hmm.
did you ever dream that he would be this big in the gospel music world and have aspirations to inspire and change people's lives?
Yeah. I think I knew like I had a good mother, and she would always let us know that you are different. Not so much like we were better than anybody, but we always knew there was something, and there was a gifting and a calling on our life. And so I knew, I didn't know how, but I knew that there was something special about my family, and something special about what God has gifted me with and given me. And I just played it out. I just, took it day by day. And you know what? You know, I can dream that I would have accomplished a lot of things that I have done, but it's just like you in a movie, but you don't know the end. And so so I would say that I feel blessed. So much more I would love to accomplish, but I'm happy what what I have accomplished, and I'm just grateful for that.
Yes, and then fast forward, your dad is Evangelist J.R. Mural, and well, your mother is
My
Evangelist
mother.
J.R.
That's right.
And she is an amazing gospel singer. Again, the impact, the Clark sisters, and as we can see in their story, their parents have had an impact on them, mainly their mom, Maddie Moss. And
Yeah.
years later, this opportunity right here, working with your father and your mom and training with them,
Hmm.
growing up in the choir, growing up in church, learning and
Yeah.
understanding faith and understanding. Uh, you then later linked up with another gospel music icon, Donald Lawrence, who's one of my
Oh yeah.
favorites.
Oh yeah.
And from there, your career just took off. And what was it like working with Donald Lawrence?
See, a lot of people don't know our backstory. Before everybody knew who Donald was, we were already connected. His my family, and we were part of the same church movement, and it was just so many different. So we spent time with each other, so we knew him growing up, and before the whole world knew him as the big Donald Lawrence, we were already family. That's why he called us his family, because we would spend time together, listen to records and studying music. And he was inspired through my mother, and from that whole perspective, he made a promise to her that once if he could just get where he wanted to in his career, that he would reach back and take us along. And he stayed true to that promise, and that's how we're here today. If it wasn't for him, he stayed true to that promise, and he's just been a great brother to us. Yeah.
And then again, another highlight in your career is just highlight after highlight after highlight from your mom and dad being vets in the gospel business to Donna
Yeah.
Lawrence to now the Tri-City Singers being a part of
Yeah.
that because that's where I remember also seeing you as well to Kirk Franklin. What was
Hmm.
it like being a part of this iconic historical gospel music group?
Well, I must say I learned so much through that whole process. But the funny thing is, when my mom passed in 1998, and
Oh
my
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 God.
brother, yeah, Donald knew at the time. My sister started out with the Tri City Singers. She sings the song "I Am God" on that from there, but she's been there from the beginning. But when my mom passed, he knew how much an impact that was. We were very close to my mother. And so Donald reached back and grabbed all the brothers. And from that moment is when we started singing with the Tri City Singers. And I think we came in on the tricity4.com era, but we were still singing some of the other songs. And so just that experience was, going through what we went through, it was healing. He brought us on the road. We were able to tour. I mean, just sitting back and just looking at him work, man, I was, we learned so much. And it was a period of my life that I know that I didn't just need, um, just, I needed it for what I was going through, but I also needed it for its growth in music. And, just being around that really changed a lot of aspects for me, and even mature a lot of my musical intake, and understanding the levels of how to make the music, and the ministry worked together and flowed. Yeah.
And you worked with your brother Andre on the Family
Yeah.
Prayer CD. I remember that. Great
Yes.
album. And it's always a pleasure. What's it like working with family? Because you and your brothers and
Yeah.
sister also have a group as well too. What's it like working with family and doing what you love?
It's wonderful. That Family Prayer album was one that we received our Grammy nomination for. And it was wonderful. I mean, I grew up with my family. So, it was six siblings, five guys and one girl. And so the house was always live. We always had music. We always, so, you know, being able to come together at that age and work together again was like going back to those days, being able to, when the house was alive and we're all together. It was wonderful. I love my family, and we just, it's just a connection there. It's just a connection there that's just like no other. And Donald recognized that. That's why he brought that together. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. Um, I'm fans of my siblings. I think they're some of the greatest singers. I think they have it. They really are. I look at them from even when I was younger. I was always crazy about my brother, and my sisters, and their talent. And I would had a hard time making sure that I can keep up with them. So, but it was they kept we pushed each other, and so it's just been a wonderful experience to be our first album and to get nominated for best R&B gospel off of your first album, and we got nominated for Stella, and we also were nominated for a Dove. So it was a great experience.
And you and your brother co-producing skills landed you both on the Billboard Top 20 Gospel. Huge
Hmm.
achievement. And I know you said you lost your mom. She's looking
Yeah.
down. She's looking
Yes.
down. She's here in spirit. I've lost my sister in 2018. So
Wow.
losing
Sorry to hear that.
a family
Yeah.
member is like
Hmm.
losing a piece of your soul, losing a piece of you. But
Yeah.
God is like, you're not alone. You have them there watching over you faithfully. And
Hmm.
I believe that she's watching over me spiritually
Oh yeah.
and emotionally, all parts of me. We all have a guardian angel. So that's always a good. And Grammy Award nomination for Best Contemporary R&B Gospel Album, Stellar Award nomination, Artist of the Year. So it goes on, and then you just continue on working with P.J. Morton, Tommy Sims, Donald Lawrence. You've worked with
Yeah.
all of them, and it's such a blessing. Looking back in your career,
Hmm.
what is one thing you would say to the younger version of Andre or the younger version of Damien or any of your siblings or
Hmm.
yourself as well too? What would you tell those younger versions of yourself?
I would say never get to the point where you stop enjoying what you do, and don't limit God to a small box. I think I would tell that to myself, and just really know God is bigger than that box. God is, he's, so your gifting and everything that He's given you, um, is you have to give it to the world and not just give it to us. So just one select few of people. I believe that because I believe that's what Jesus did. I believe that's how He, when if He ministered to the world, He went to the different places that most people didn't go to. And so I believe that if I can turn back and say that to myself, I would have probably started that a little earlier. But so I think that's what I would tell myself.
And you've shared the stage with so many gospel music icons from,
That's,
I've mentioned Karen Clark, the Clark sisters. You've worked with J. Moss, Fred Hammond, CeCe Winans, and the late Angie Stone. And I can't believe I'm saying the late Angie Stone because her music was so pivotal in the R&B world. Like everything she sung about was so deep, it was so real. And you've had the pleasure of working with the late Angie Stone and sharing the stage with her. What was it like sharing the
yeah,
stage with
sharing the
Angie Stone?
stage with it was great. We were in Central Park, I believe. We had a concert in Central Park. It was us and Tri City Don Lawrence, Tri City Singers, and Angie Stone, and she was just a warm, great individual. She had a deep respect for, for the music and gospel music as well. She just refused. She was like, no, let me go first before y'all go on. So, but she was incredible, and she just was a sweet-hearted person. So, just being able to share the stage with her was something I'll never forget. Yeah.
And just her impact alone, just her impact
Oh yeah.
alone in the music world, but loved her.
Oh yeah.
And I was supposed to do an interview with her, but something came up
Oh
that day.
wow.
Shout outs to her publicist, Deborah Champagne, who I've also had on my show as well too. And I think I texted Deborah, and when she passed, I was just like, "Are you okay?" Immediately checked on her because I
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
First, you want to believe these things out here, but it's crazy. It is crazy the
It.
times that we're
Wow.
losing all of our musical giants. And I bring up Angie Stone to segue into the whole conversation of what we touched on earlier in the show, which is gospel music and how you're wanting to get those younger listeners to listen
Hmm.
to the message of God,
Absolutely.
being able
Yeah.
to have it infused in your music as well too, and make
Yeah.
it catchy where it's not
Yes.
preachy, but it's also
Hmm.
hip in a way. And that's why I've
Hmm.
referenced Trinity 5-7. For me,
Oh
growing
yeah.
up, that was one of my favorite gospel
Absolutely.
girl
Yeah.
groups. And
They were
they're just
great.
their
Yeah.
message alone. They were hip. It
Hmm.
sounded like R&B, but they were hip. And they
Yes.
wanted you to get the message of God. Where it's like we can sing
Hmm.
about I get up, I thank Him in the morning every day, but they
Hmm.
also wanted their gospel music to have
Right.
substance. And that's when
That's right.
Kirk Franklin also came on the scene. Boom. CC
Hmm.
Winans gave us you shared the stage with, gave us Everlasting Love. And I'm pretty sure you remember that
Oh
album.
yeah.
That's one of my
Absolutely.
favorites. We
Yes.
talk a lot about Alabaster Box, which is a
Hmm.
beautiful album. But I
Hmm.
love Everlasting Love because
Me too.
it's very R&B. And it
Oh
still
yes.
talks about God, His grace, the presence
Hmm.
alone. It sounds like an R&B album, but this is when I think of gospel, R&B, and hip hop merged together, and
Hmm.
that's what I love about your music too, Damien. Is
Hmm.
that gospel artists do not place themselves in just one lane. We can get up and
Hmm.
shout praise and music all day
That's
long,
right.
but at the same time, you want your
Hmm.
younger audience members, your younger listeners, to get the
Hmm.
message of God alone.
That's right.
And we can get it all day. We can sit in church and listen to the word of God all day.
Hmm.
But will people get the message? Will people take away from something from it? And I
Yeah.
think that is key and crucial. So that was going to be my next question for you. What do you think about the merge of the next generation or next gen of
Hmm.
gospel music artists that are coming up that are following in the footsteps of a Damian Mural and the Mural family, the Clark
Yeah.
sisters, the Kirk Franklins,
Yeah.
the Yolanda Adams, and one of my favorite gospel singers, and I mentioned her yesterday on the show, and I feel like she does not get enough due, is Tremaine Hawkins.
Oh, of
Tremaine
course. Yeah.
Hawkins,
Yeah. Yes.
love her.
Yes.
What do you think about the next generation of gospel music artists that are coming out?
Well, I think my take on what gospel music is where a lot of people have lost that. They don't really understand what gospel music is. I think what we try to do is we try to take gospel music and make it just a genre. And gospel music is where everything came from. So it's the one genre that all styles fit in. And so I don't believe that you can make gospel music one particular style. I mean, rock has a style, or R&B has a style, or whatever. All the other styles have that one type of music, but all styles fit in gospel music. Gospel music to me is the message. It's not the style. So it's like if you have a great message, if you have the good news, the message of the good news, and it's in a hip way, it's still the message of the good news. And I think we need to get back to that. I think that's where we used to be. It wasn't, gospel music was just that you can go there and find it all, because it was really more about the message, not the style of the music. So I am happy for others to have different styles because I believe that God is too big and he's too uh he doesn't even make one flower or one fish or one animal the same way. It's so many different types of variations of creation. And so I believe that he would want us to be the same way. And so, yes, I think that when people come with creativity, bring it to gospel music, bring it to the world, because honestly, gospel music is not just for Christians, it's for everybody. It's for everybody. And, sometimes they need to hear the good news. And so they may not, they should be able to find the good news in whatever style that they like. So that's my take on
Even for sinners, because I'm wearing this unholy dress and I'm doing this interview here with Damien today. So
it.
even sinner, God knows my heart. So,
That's right. That's
but
right.
yes, but you've also used your musical contributions into films. One of my favorites is Stumping at the Savoy, and
Oh,
FYI, you have done some
wow.
of the music in that film. I mean, you've had a
Yeah.
classic with all of these iconic women.
Yeah.
Lynn Whitfield, who's one of my favorite actresses. You've
Yeah.
had Vanessa Williams, who I've had the pleasure
Hmm.
of interviewing here on this show. You've had Vanessa Bell Calloway. I mean, the list goes on and
Hmm.
on of these
Yeah.
amazing women in this. And you've also Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Yeah.
What was it
Hmm.
like working on these cult classic films?
Hey, it was awesome. I mean, in both films, I were one of the musicians in the film. So you'll see us on different, even my siblings as well. So it was wonderful to come and share music with those iconic people, and be able to sit and talk with them, and even behind the scenes, or we're just joking, and it's like, wow, this, they're really, good people, and so it was great. When you start to mention, I kind of forgot about that, because it's been a long time since that happened. But yeah, it was wonderful, and those movies like that live forever. So I think it was a blessing to be a part of that.
And as a young black woman growing up, seeing these amazing black women on screen, Vanessa Williams was my idol, and that was a dream come true. I sent you that as well
Yeah.
too. So I was nervous. We'll talk about that later in the interview because Damien's going to get to ask me some questions. I've sent him some girl talks and stuff, and I want to hear his opinion on it. Um, but that'll be later in the show, in the hour. But growing up watching this as a black woman growing up, young black woman growing up, and seeing these amazing black women from Vanessa Williams, Vanessa Bell Calloway, Lynn Whitfield, and I got introduced to her as Josephine Baker. Like
Hmm.
that was the classic for me that did it. That
Hmm.
solidified her career. Josephine
Yeah.
Baker. And then seeing her in Stumping in the Savoy, and you have Vanessa Bell Calloway. Uh,
Hmm.
I remember seeing her in Coming to America, and then now
Yes.
seeing her in this, and just an ensemble cast of amazing African American women. I felt
Hmm.
empowered. I felt
Yeah.
empowered, and to be able to sit with Vanessa Williams, who was in that project, that was amazing.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that later in the
Oh yeah.
show. But another highlight in your career as well too was you served as minister at the Music at the Word Changing Hearts Ministry. You were a minister there.
Hmm.
You served as minister. What was it like
Yeah.
serving as minister? Because your music is powerful, and
Hmm.
you've touched and changed so many people's lives. What was it like being able to sit up here and give the word of God and encourage
Hmm.
people? Because people go through so much in everyday life. We need something to
Hmm.
uplift. And my mother's always been spiritually based. My grandmother as
Hmm.
well too. And these women, without them, I would not be here if
Hmm.
it wasn't
That's
for
right.
them encouraging me through the word of God. So, what was it like
Hmm.
being able to um, encourage people, give them the word every day?
Yeah.
Because everybody has so many life stories, and we go through
Yeah.
different things.
Hmm. Well, I'm just a person that I just, I have a heart for people. I believe that, that if we can believe in ourselves, if we can, just, I wrote a song called Painted Picture. Um, and it's about how sometimes the enemy paints a different picture of yourself. And a lot of times people have a hard time in their life because they can't see themselves the way God sees them. And so in that song, it says, stop believing that picture that the enemy painted for you, but see yourself as God, what he sees you. And so I try to look at people through the eyes of God. And so doing that, it's easy to have a heart for people and to want them to win. And I just want people to win. And any way that I can do that, and I believe a lot of the answers to helping them win is right there in the book that most people don't look in. It's right there in the Bible. It's there. It's not saying, hey, I need to be perfect before I open that Bible. It's not what it's for. You have to just open it. It's okay. God finds you where you are, and you just continually to work and do whatever and know that, hey, you can do it. You can make it. If you want to be that job, or if you want that job, you can get it. If you want to, be closer to your family, the answer is all there. And so when I began to read that, being able to share that with people, that's what I'm about. I'm not really about titles. People can call me minister, never call me minister, but where my heart is I will always be ministering to people, if it's through song or just by sharing words with them, and giving them, if I can make them feel like getting up the next day and moving and feel like I can make it, hey, then I've done something. And I think we all should have that, but it takes a heart to have that, and I just have a heart for people, and I love to see them win.
And I'm sitting with the legend Damian Mural here of the Mural family, and we've got another legend in the audience, Lee John Stewart, who worked alongside Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, which is one of the highest grossest films in history. And I had
Wow.
the pleasure of sitting down with Lee John. And Lee John also works with me because I write for Original Magazine UK. So shout outs to our
Wow.
boss lady, Solar.
Awesome.
So you got another icon watching you again. So he says he loves what you just said, which is don't see themselves as God sees them. This is so brilliant and meaningful. Exactly, because the Bible says that we are made in God's image. Each and every one of us are made in His likeness, in His
That's right.
image. So you can't judge a person big because you don't know a
Hmm.
person's story. And that's why I created Style by Stevie. I wanted people to
Hmm.
have a platform where they can come and they can share their stories and their testimonies, because God has given us the ability. And it's a quote from Nina Simone that I actually love and live by. And it talks about artists and how
Hmm.
the artist's job is to reflect the times. So that means your job is to tell people's story. God has given us the ability and the gift to be able to share
That's
and
right.
tell stories with
Hmm.
people, because you never know whose life it could be changing. Like
That's right.
just recently, I sat down with an actress. Shout outs to my girl, Christy Tate. And she was told that she would never walk again. Something happened to her. She was in an accident. She got injured.
Hmm.
And she literally had to, Damien, when I tell you, she had to train herself how to walk again. That is
Wow.
power. That is how powerful God is. That is how
Wow.
powerful He is and miraculous He is.
He is.
And I think a lot of people can take from her story. And
Hmm.
also Nicholas Barnes, who I just had on my show as well, too, who was also wheelchair bound. And just them sharing those testimonies with me, you never
Hmm.
know who it can touch, because you have to train yourself. You have to
That's
train
right.
yourself, and God has given us that ability to be able to
Hmm.
train ourselves, to be able to share the information and tools to help empower
Hmm.
and inspire the next person through music, through that and
That's
so
right.
much more.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we all have
Absolutely.
them, we all have them stories. I mean, I have them of my own. I mean, you would never know, but I went through open heart surgery. And,
Ooh.
back in I think it was 1999, 1998. It was a year after my mother passed. It was a rough time for me. And, God brought me out of that. And you would never know, because he didn't just bring me out. He brought me out. I was, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, when they went in and found that I had like several holes in my heart, so they had to go in and patch up holes, in my heart. And from there, God gave me songs. There was one particular song that my brother asked the doctor if they can play the music to it while they did surgery, and they did that. And that song to this day has encouraged so many different people. So you never know what you go through and why you go through it. And that whole situation, I mean, God brought me out of that so great that, I mean, I was taking martial arts. I mean, I was I was probably best physically, and I was, everything was just so great for me. But I realized that I didn't go through that just for me. So whenever I wrote that song that came from that, when I traveled all the way around mentioning that song, I would have people that would come to me and say, "Wow, that song right there, it's called Don't Let Me Fall." That song helped me in my family issue. It helped me in this medical issue that I've had. I had a young guy, a mother, and a young guy he was maybe about 15 or 16 years old, and she asked him to tell me his story, and he told me that he went through about 10 open heart surgeries. And
Wow.
so he was like, that song really helped him. And so you just never know why you go through and what you go through. You just have to go through it and allow God to do whatever he does, because you never know how many people you will be blessed from that. So yeah, so I can relate to being able to go through things and having that testimony, and really being able to share with people, and having them be encouraged so that they know. If I think people say, if God did it for you, I tell them, like, if God did it for me, he definitely would do it for you, because look at me, I'm just me. And
And you're
you.
a living, breathing testimony and sentiment, because there's so many
That's
people
right.
who have been through the same thing.
That's right. That's right. And just even that, I've been on a good journey. I've been in the best health I've ever been. I'm good. I can take off running and sprinting and do whatever. I've never had any issues after. He didn't just bring me out of it, but he kept me through it. And the doctors didn't think that I would live to be past the teenage years, but I'm still here and steady going. And that's because of the God I serve and what he does, and he can do that for anybody. Just don't give up.
All the time. All the
Yeah.
time. And don't worry, you had the pleasure of working with my girl Hope Ellis, who's also in the North Carolina area.
Yeah.
We're segueing into the girl talk, so I'm gonna get Damien's thoughts on what he thought about everything that I sent him, and then we're gonna do our games with him as well too, and take some questions from the audience. But
Okay.
you've worked with my girl Hope Ellis. What was it like being a
Yes.
part of our collective, being with the people you love, and my girl Hope, because she's
Yeah.
passionate about the music. She loves it.
It was great. Hope uh, it was a lot of fun, because sh she had such a great gift, and I'm a producer at heart. So what I try to do is bring out the best in people, that if I can, and she let me do that, and because she was already gifted. I was happy to be able to do that song with her, and we had a lot of fun. I think she was one of the guests there was Hope Ellis and Monique Holmes. Also,
Yeah.
both of them were very, very gifted, and so I was excited. Both of them are very sweet individuals. They're not hard to work with, and they love music, and they're very gifted. And so that journey was great. It just was great. It was wonderful, and I look forward to doing some more work with them.
And the single is out now on all platforms, so make sure y'all go and check it out. It's titled Don't Worry. Beautiful song, beautiful song. And whatever you're going through in life, make sure you put that on in your playlist. I've listened to the song while I was in the process of getting hair and makeup done, and I'm just like, okay, I'm at ease. Stressed, worried about everything that's going on, the world we're living in, the climate we're living in, and you put that
Hmm.
song on, it puts you through. That's the power of music. And that is what
Yes,
music, God's word, is supposed to do. It's supposed to get you through. And I was telling my guest this yesterday, Sterling, I said it's a song by Yolanda Adams that I love. And Damon, you know which song. This too shall pass.
that's right.
I put that song on, and I told Sterling, I said, I will bawl like a baby. If not that one, then Stand by BB Winans. That
Oh
one will
yeah.
get me there. Lately, I've been
Hmm.
like very tough, very stoic, but
Hmm.
when I want to go to that space, when I want to cry, when I just want to be at ease and be one with God and be one with myself, those are the two songs that do it for me.
Hmm.
Stand
Wow.
and this too there shall pass. Those two
Yeah,
will
great
get me.
songs.
So,
Oh yeah.
okay. Yes, yes, yes. The girl talks. Let's get into it because we're about fixing to get into our games here with Damien Fashion Dolls, and I'm going to take some questions from the audience as well too. I
Okay.
sent Damien the girl talks because I said I worked with Hope, and it took him by surprise because he didn't know we knew each other. Yes, she's a part of my sister girl talk panel. We talk about a number of things, just me, her, and also shout outs to my girl Nikhil and Nikki Brown as well too. We've just
Hmm.
formed a sisterhood. We did not know each other. Me and Hope, I did my interviews individually with the ladies, and how the three of us came together collectively. I said, let's do a girl talk. I pitched the idea to Hope, and then I pitched it to Nikila. And I created a group chat. The ladies met each other because Nikila's in Texas, Hope is in North Carolina, I'm in South Carolina. So we call ourselves the three
Wow.
Southern girls.
Oh,
And you
okay.
have three different black women, three different
Yeah.
walks of life, and we just clicked. And the girls are just like, when is the next one, Miss Stevie? When can we do another one? When can we do another one? And we did three together. So we're gonna be doing
Wow.
another. Our schedules are crazy. But I sent it to Damien, and I'm pretty sure he's heard Miss Stevie say some things she should not be saying. So I wanted to hear that wasn't very godly. Bad girl. But your thoughts on the girl talks, because just you get to see our camaraderie and our sisterhood just through that.
Hmm. Well, I think you should have that. I mean, I believe that, we should be able to come together, and especially, when it comes down to talking is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of times it's talking that a lot of things that men sometimes don't do. And a lot of times we have to just look at that, the whole aspect of being able to come together and talk, and how, and to me, I think that's a areas where you are able to encourage each other. You receive knowledge, you receive encouragement, you receive that. And if we can't have that, where are we going to get it? You know what I'm saying? So I think even in our community versus doing what you guys are doing, a lot of times we do more fighting. We do more coming against each other or being jealous of each other. And to see you guys come together and do that, hey, I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. Regardless of what the information is or not or whatever, at least we talk about it, right? you know, so talking is good, and so yeah, I think that was great.
And Hope said it at the one of our girl at the end of one of our girl talks. They were saying, you did it, baby girl. You know the facts. You know this. You know everything, and you brought us together. You brought us here, and that I did. We didn't know each
Mm-hmm.
other at all. I did my interviews with both ladies separately,
Mm-hmm.
and Hope mentioned working with you in in our interview, and the
Mm-hmm.
song, and I listened to the song, very beautiful song, and I said, okay, I gotta have him on my show, and I'm pretty sure he knows that we know each other. I have to tell him. I have to tell him.
Yeah.
So I sent him the girl talks, and I'm pretty
Oh
sure
yeah.
Damien is context everything we've been talking about, but it's just like girlfriends getting together and that
Yeah.
camaraderie, that sisterhood
Yeah.
that we have. And
Yeah.
when we set it up, the girls at the end, after we finished and after it's uploaded and everything, the ladies are
Mm-hmm.
like, Miss Stevie, we got to do another one. We got to do another one. We don't want to stay away from each other. That's
That's
sisterhood.
right.
We've grown
That's right.
attached. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
just us three, but it's two other women in the group
Oh
as well,
wow.
too. Shout outs to Jacque, shout outs to Dr. Debrina Sandifer. Is a group of, okay, there's Debrina, myself, Hope, um, all right, that was mom. It's Sabrina, myself, Hope, Nikila, Jacque. So that's, yeah, five, six women in the group, and
Oh
we're able
wow.
to get along because in daytime, or just in general, black women working together, the misconception of us is there's always going to be cattiness, and it wasn't that at all
Yeah.
with us.
That's right.
There is no
That's right.
egos. There is no
Yeah.
divas. Nobody's better than the other. We just
Yeah.
gel. We're girls
Yeah.
from the South. And Debrina's
That's right.
from Texas as well, too. So,
Wow.
Joshua, as I think in another part of the city, she's in another region. But each of us collectively have something to bring. And that's why I had to share that with Damien, to show that we knew
Wow.
each
Yeah.
other. and just the sisterhood and camaraderie that we have. And Hope was cracking up the entire time on that panel. She even said it herself, because I said things I knew I shouldn't be saying, and I know my mama would be like, "Girl, I should have took you to church more." But listen, you know, to each his own. I know everybody has their feelings, how they're feeling
Oh,
in this climate. And I say the
yeah,
things, you're gonna have the spicy one, you're gonna have the calm one, you're gonna have,
yeah,
each and every one of us have a different personality, and I think I
yeah.
bring the fire the most.
Right.
I'm the most spiciest. But I don't mind. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Some people love it. But yeah, I had to share that. Now we're gonna get into our games here with Damien,
Okay.
and I do this with all of my guests, and then we're gonna take some questions from the audience. All right. So if
Okay.
you guys have any questions, hi Ener. Shout outs to Ener Carlson, who I've had the pleasure of interviewing, award-winning actor, also Original
Wow.
Magazine UK. Welcome, welcome. So we're in a room full of greatness right now, Fashion Dolls. All right. So my first game is called the Rapid Five, and Damien has to tell me five things that he can't live without, his guilty pleasures. And I know for me, I love to listen to your music. That's one of my guilty
Hmm.
pleasures. Um, I love Sade. Sade is one of my guilty pleasures. Like
Hmm.
the Love Deluxe album does it for me. It has me
Hmm.
feeling some type of way, like
Yeah.
Bulletproof Heart, all of Smooth Operator, all of them, they have me feeling a certain type of way. But
Hmm.
another one of my guilty pleasures is also cookies and cream ice cream. So
Okay.
whatever you love that you can't live without. And then we're going to turn the
Hmm.
tables. And it is not going
Oh.
to be styled by Stevie. It's going to be the Damian Morrell show. So he's going to get the chance to ask me some questions that he's wanted to ask me for my new viewers out
Yeah.
there. All right.
Yeah.
So, Damian, what are your five guilty pleasures you can't live without?
That's a question I've never even thought about. So I'm gonna have to think about that
And
hard.
it sounds so sin like, and I'm talking to,
Right.
the good, the good minister, and it sounds so
Oh.
sinful, like guilty pleasures,
Well,
but
no,
each and
not
every
necessarily.
one of
I
us.
just never really. You know what? I tell you this. I definitely couldn't. I need music.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. Um, that will be one. And I'm not just going for the safe things. This is really just my heart. I believe that the music in God's word is definitely on that. God's word is definitely the first. Music is second.
Oh, yeah.
On the other sides, every now and then, I eat pretty healthy most of the time. But every now and then, I do like occasionally some marshmallows. Every now and then, I've always
Okay.
loved marshmallows. So that's three. Let me think of two more. Um, um, hmm. I'm a gamer. I like to play video games here and there every now and
Okay.
then. Yeah, yeah. My PlayStation 5. Yeah, I'll put that on one. And um, I've never had this question asked before, so I don't know. That's gonna be hard.
Family. Your family can be one. Your family, because you guys have worked together. And when you get together and I'm watching your videos, y'all create
Yeah.
magic together. So
Well,
definitely.
yeah,
That's just an
I'll go.
example.
I'll go with that one because that's something I definitely wouldn't want to live without. Yeah, because family is for life. Yeah.
All the time.
So I made it through
All right, fashion dolls, and those are his five guilty
it.
pleasures. All right. So it is time, and I do this with all of my guests. My heart is beating so fast, I always get nervous because I have no clue what my guests are going to ask me. So I'm going to pass it on down to Damien here, and Damien's going to get to ask me as many questions as he wants for my new viewers out there. All right, fashion dolls. So it is time to turn those tables. And this is no longer Style by Stevie. This is the Damian Morrell show. So I'm going to pass the microphone on down to Damien here. Take it away.
All right, so let's start here. What is the thing that gets you through most of your days? What is the thing that helps you keep pushing towards tomorrow?
Ooh. Well, first thing I get up in the morning, I always have to have the Word of God. I have to have my morning affirmation, my devotion. And one of my favorite verses is Philippians 4:16. I believe in all things in Christ who strengthens me. And
Hmm.
I've listened to that. and I say uh, the prayer. What is it? The warrior's prayer. And you guys
Hmm.
know it. I have buckler and shield, and I have the breastplate of armor. All of the things
Hmm.
that a warrior would have. That's what gets me through the
Yeah.
day. So I can't
Yeah.
live without the word of God. So that's why I come on so stoic, so resilient. It's just like,
Hmm.
does she ever have emotion? I do. I do.
Right.
I with this business, with this industry, you have to have a thick skin. And in a way, it makes you feel guarded. But other than that, I'm a down to earth person. And that's
Yeah.
always a misconception. But one thing I can't live without is the word of God. And my grandmother told me this. She's 81 years old, Damien,
Hmm.
and still alive and living, kicking. And I just saw her, me and my aunt and her were in the car together. And she always tells me this before any interview, before anything. And even to my aunts, my mom, they're going to job positions, whatever. She said, put
Hmm.
God first in everything that you do. Don't get such a big head that you
That's
forget where
right.
you came from
Who you are. Hmm.
and the ones who have helped you get there. Don't turn your back on
That's
nobody
right.
who's helped you get there. Because
That's
just as
good.
fast as you got it there, God
You can
can
lose it.
take it away from you. That's what
That's
she
right.
always told me. So I will always be that humble, down to
Yeah.
earth girl from South Carolina. And that's not
Yeah.
going to change.
Wow. Okay. Very good. So this question, we all are. I know because I do a lot of work, and you can become very busy at times where you become overwhelmed. And you know, hey, I just need to kind of sit down and take that break. What is the one thing that you do to reset in order to keep moving? To keep doing this many things. So, like me, I can get so busy, but if I get to the point where I shut down, then nothing's getting done. So there are certain things that I do. So what is it that you do that keeps you moving and keeps you moving forward and keep doing all the things that you're doing?
I exercise every day. Every morning when I get
Hmm.
up, I exercise. And it's therapeutic for me. And
Hmm.
it gives me a boost of energy. I start my day off, like I said, with prayer, and then I get up and I exercise from 7 to 7:30. I do 30 minutes
Hmm.
every day. And it's like clarity for me. And not only that, of course, a girl loves her fashion. I love fashion. I love changing my look. And if you go back and watch all of my interviews, it's dozens of different looks I've had. So I'm always changing my look. And I love shopping. I love spending time with my mom and family. And that's what keeps me so grounded. My mom has always been a rock for me. She's always been
Hmm.
my biggest advocate, my biggest cheerleader, my biggest support system, my biggest everything. Y'all call me queen, but she's the queen.
Hmm.
And y'all just heard her in the background. So that woman has made so many sacrifices for me, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So
Wow.
I would have to say exercise, fashion, shopping, spending time with family. And that's what keeps me so grounded and at ease. In a world full of chaos, you have to have that village, that tribe behind you, that family. Your family is
Yeah.
everything. So don't ever turn your back. And there have been plenty of times that I've wanted to turn my back on my mom, but I'm just like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not in God's will. You don't do that.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Wow. Well, final question. Doing the show, anytime time you do a project, you do people don't know the behind the scenes of what it takes to and how much it takes to really keep doing the things that you're doing. What is the number one thing that you get from doing the show that motivates you?
Ooh, sharing, being able to be vulnerable and transparent with my
Hmm.
guests, being able to share bits and pieces of myself with the world, and it just impact their lives as well
Yeah.
also. And I want people to walk away knowing that they feel impacted, like their life has been impacted, that
Wow.
they can take something away saying, hey, I feel encouraged, I feel powerful. Just like
Hmm.
I said, when Nicholas and uh, Christy shared their stories here on my show about, learning to have to walk again and regroup
Hmm.
yourself. That's basically what it's like. And that's something that I've taken away from watching my own projects because I remember I couldn't even go back and watch any of my interviews because I was beating up and critiquing myself so harshly.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
shout outs to my brother K-Tubes, who was just in here earlier. Uh, we talked on the phone yesterday. I have to call him back. I got so busy. Again, as Damien just said, you're always busy doing something.
Hmm.
But I beat myself up and I critique myself, and I stopped
Hmm.
doing that. Now I'm at a
Yeah.
place where I can go back and watch my interviews and
Hmm.
not have a care in the world. Like, they will tell you, like, girl, you're tripping. Stop it. You did good. So
Wow. So how did I do?
you did great. You did great. So
Yeah.
my heart is slowed down a little bit because I was nervous. I had no clue what Damien was going to ask me. I always get nervous because my guests, they ask me all sorts of questions, like,
Yeah.
and I don't mind shit. Again, that's that vulnerability. You have to
Hmm.
be able, if you're going to host a platform, you
Yeah.
have to be willing to share the vulnerability with people
Right.
because that
Yeah.
in turn makes people be vulnerable as well and share
Yeah.
their stories. You never know who you're impacting or touching
That's right.
just from having a conversation with them.
Oh yeah. I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. It was wonderful. You did a great job.
All right, fashion dolls, we're going to take some questions now from our viewers. Do we have any questions for our guests in here? Fashion dolls, do we have any questions for myself or Damien? As you look, but while they're typing, my question for you, Damien, is what's next in your chapter? Because even for all of us who believe, we're always rewriting something
Hmm.
extra in our chapters of life.
Yeah.
We're always wanting more. And we're
Hmm.
always praying and asking that God gives us more. Because if
Yeah.
you pray to Him and you ask Him for it, it can happen. I said I was going to
That's
hit
right.
800 interviews. And right now, currently, this will be interview 889.
Oh wow.
And my brother K Tubes is ahead of me. He's way ahead. He's almost at 1,000 shows. So
Wow.
for me, slow and steady wins the race, but he's put in the work. I started in 2016. And I'm
Hmm.
always wanting to reinvent, rewrite each chapter of
Yeah.
my life because
Yeah.
you are the editor, you are the author, you are the co-producer,
Hmm.
you are the director, you are all of that
Yeah.
and then some. My question for you is what's next in your chapter? What are you manifesting? Because this year flew by.
Hmm.
2025 flew by so fast, y'all. Like
It did.
before you know it, we look
It
up
did.
December, boom, January 2026. So what is
Yeah.
next in your chapter? What are you manifesting for 2025?
Well,
I'm at
you know,
2026.
some things I can say some things have already started. Like I've been doing some scoring for some movies for a movie. Doing something I've always wanted to do, and I've been doing that. I know I've been part of connected with some different people. Been part of a Motown show that's happening, that's traveling and doing, and that's been fun doing that. But there's so much more that I want to do. Some things that I am calling out, but some things I'm just like, I'm game. So God, whatever, I believe that a lot of things that have hit me in this season have been probably even more surprising. Some areas I just didn't know, but I just was willing. And God has opened up so many doors. So I'm just, like I said before, I'm just wanting to be out of the box and really enter to the world and just really do whatever I need to do just to get my message out there, my musical message. And I want that message to be for everyone. I want that message just not is something that I feel like the world needs to hear. And in order to do that, I'm calling out and I'm speaking into the atmosphere that my message and my music will just take off all around the world and even in other countries, and be able to travel to other countries and share that music as well. So I would love to do that.
And it's happened. If you put it out there and you believe in God, it's going to happen. And
Absolutely.
it is.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Because it's more and more and more to come. And
Yes.
John, you had a question? I'm sorry, my love. Type it again. I couldn't see your question. Because there are siblings who grew up together and they haven't spoke in 10, 30, 90 years, but you and your siblings are speaking, and in fact, y'all are working together. Why? How?
Good,
Besides God, where does that, let me see, because it got cut off.
good question.
I think he's still typing. But I
Okay.
think basically LeJohn wants to know how do you guys do it like as a family? Because I know that
Yeah.
Working with siblings, you have your challenges.
Oh,
You have your challenges. You have
absolutely.
your disagreements. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you love each other. You come to an agreement.
Hmm.
So I think what Lee John is asking is, how do you do it? How do you work with your siblings?
Hmm. Well, you know what? That's when I mean like that's a real question. That's because I know it's a lot of people that have time. They have issues with family, and some people die with those issues and never resolve them. Um, I think we were brought in a good foundation. I'm not going to act like we are perfect and never had any issues. Every family have issues. And I think what we try to do is we try to work through them, and we have done that. But for the most part, we always got along. But there always been some areas where sometimes you have to pray and let God handle it. A lot of times we want to do it ourselves, and we make things worse. And I've noticed that when we've done that, we learn to sometimes take a step back, and at some point I think later in life, even like now, we realize, my family, that we need each other more than we've ever needed each other, you know? And I think everybody comes to that point, but sometimes you have to take your mouth off it to stop making it worse and to just pray and actually try to promote and do the things that promote healing. And, it's hard because you grew up with that person constantly and you might want to speak your mind. But if that thing you want to speak is not going to make anything better, then it's better to hold it and pray. And then when you come together, just and I think at some point time will start to tell people that, wow, I really need my siblings, I really need my brothers, and I need my sister, or we need to spend more time together. And I believe that's what happened with us. We didn't have any major issues, but I think there was a time when we took time for granted because there's three that live here and three that lives there, and now we're realizing that, wow, we don't want to waste any time while we're here. Let's come together and really spend more time together. So I hope that kind of answered somewhat.
Do we have any more questions, Fashion Dolls? For myself or Damien, this was such a inspiring conversation, and I hope you all took something away from this conversation today as well, too. Not just the spiritual aspect, but also more so the life aspect, because we all
Hmm.
have encountered so many things in our lives in general, and we're just figuring out how to put back the pieces of the puzzle together. And it's not easy. And Lejean says, thank you.
Oh, no problem. Great question. That was a really good question.
So we don't have
Yeah,
any more questions, Fashion Dolls.
right.
Damien, any gems or words of encouragement that you would give to people who are just suffering right now and
Yeah.
they just don't know who to turn to? There's so many people who believe in many things. If you believe in God, just know that you're going to be all right. So what advice would
Hmm.
you give them during this time, this climate that we're in? What,
Hmm.
what advice would you give them on who to turn
Um,
to, who to talk to?
of course, I believe in Jesus, and I'm not saying that because I don't believe I'm not religious. I'm more about relationship. So
Mm.
honestly, I believe if you give Jesus a chance through relationship, and it's okay, just talk to him, pray, and talk to him like you're talking to me. Just let him know that, hey, this is what I'm going through, and this is how I feel, and I don't know what to do about it. And I believe I've had times where you have to just pour your heart out to him. Don't worry about whether you can hear him say anything back, but just talk to him and take it, just take it from your heart. And if you do that, and just read his word, you'll realize if you just have faith that you really have nothing to worry about. That's why I don't get caught up. I believe in the political and politics and all those other things, but it doesn't matter to me who the president is. I may want somebody to be or or whatever, but at the same time, it doesn't matter because the president doesn't hold in his hands what's going to happen with me. And I believe that Jesus, God, does that. And when you can believe that, you can find peace and you can have joy in life. I have joy in life. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect, Joy has nothing to do with everything being perfect. Joy is something that happens when everything is not perfect. And I'm still happy. And you can have that too, but you just have to turn to him for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I would close the show with today's final thought, which comes from Catherine Pulsifier. And she
Mm-hmm.
says this: time and balance are the two most difficult things to have control over, yet they are both the things that we do control. Meaning, as I said, you are the
Mm-hmm.
author, the editor, the producer, the
Mm-hmm.
director of your life story. And it's important that you use your ability, your God given talent, because He has given each and every one of us a divine talent. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I never thought I would be this big on this
That's right.
platform here and
That's right.
hosting a platform and sitting down with icons such as Damien, such as Vanessa Williams, such as Tommy
Wow.
Davidson. The list goes on and on and
Yeah.
on and on. Long resume of people I've sat with
That's
to be
awesome.
able to share their stories with people and impact and
Mm-hmm.
change people's lives. That is a God
Yeah.
given talent in itself. So, the key core message in this quote right here, the final thought, is to make sure that you are finding time, balance, and also having a good, as Damien just said, a relationship with our Father. Because
Mm-hmm.
God, to me, God is everything.
That's
I
right.
myself am spiritual. I'm not Christian where I'm shoving the Bible down people's throats, beating them with it, because we're seeing that now. They're doing it in the current state.
Mm-hmm.
But I want people to take this message right here,
Yeah.
which is God is giving you an individual talent. Your spiritual father, the universe, whatever you believe in,
Mm-hmm.
He is giving you a talent, the creator. For me, God is my husband. God is my everything. He is all of that and then some to me. That's how good He's been to me because I see the change, I see the growth. And what God put out there for you is yours. It's yours. Nobody can take that away from you. Your God given
Mm-hmm.
divine talent, your divine right, nobody can take that away from you. So remember that. It's all about time, balance, and also having that key thing, relationship. So that's what I want you guys to remember as well, too, fashion dolls. All right? So on that note, thank you so much, Damien. This was such a
Oh,
divine conversation, and I would love to invite you back to my 20th season for the new year of 2026.
okay.
We're
Yeah.
already in the process. We have guests lined up for January, so we will be back in
Wow.
January. But we have, in the meantime, you guys can enjoy for the rest of these months more amazing
Yeah.
guests leading up to the new year of 2026, which is my 20th season, which we're already preparing for, and
Yeah.
more seasons to come. All right?
Yeah. Thank
So
you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate this.
you are so welcome, and thank you so much for encouraging and spreading the word of God and getting us empowered.
Yeah.
That's what we need in these times is someone who is a light. And you and your family, Damien, y'all have a God-given gift that
Thank
has
you so much.
given us light, and you've breathed it through your music. So thank you so
Appreciate
much.
them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we let you go, where can everyone follow you and check you out? And of course, the single is titled "Be Happy" with my girl Hope Ellis. Make sure y'all go and stream it on all platforms now.
Yeah. Actually, don't worry. Oh, I'm sorry. The
Don't
singles
worry. Make sure y'all
entitled
go and
"Don't
check
Worry."
it
Yeah.
out
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
on all
But you know what?
platforms.
All platforms that and you can find me on all platforms as well. It can be it's just Damian Merle, DAMION MURRILL on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, Damian Merle. And if you connect with us on that way, you'll find out all the different journeys that we're doing. On you'll see some clips of some of the music of us in concert and just some of the great things, some of the that we've been doing. So I appreciate you allowing me to come on this platform and giving me the opportunity to share my message with your audience. I appreciate that.
Yes, and we need it. We need it during these dark times.
Oh
Again,
yeah.
you're being that bright light. People need a bright light right now. And I told people this just this week. The light is inside of you, but there are people out here who can be that bright light, and you are that
That's
bright
right.
light for them,
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
encouraging us and keeping us
Thank
going.
you.
And that's what we need more than ever. So, again, love on your neighbor, love on everyone, and make sure that you
That's right.
are having that connection, that relationship with the Father, with the universe, with God, whichever you believe in. I love you all, Fashion Dolls. And I will see y'all tomorrow with MT Washington. Make sure you guys tune in. This interview will be uploaded on Style by Stevie Daytime. And you can head on over and subscribe and also hit that community tab. Some information there. You can check it out. Facts, birthdays, all of that, so much more. Make sure you guys go and check that out. And I will see y'all tomorrow. I love you all, Fashion Dolls, and take care. Till next time.
Right.